Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to Crunching the Numbers. Welcome to NFL Week 12 with Mark Ever Kelly, the two-time Emmy Award winner. Week 12. You know what that means next week? You're eating turkey. Week 13, 3 games on Thursday, but I digress. Let's get to Week 12, Mark, and it's should be a doozy of games here. We got. Let's start off with a not bad one. Minnesota, Green Bay, 1 p.m. Green Bay favored by 6.
Minnesota and Green Bay. Boy, Minnesota's been inconsistent on the lesser side. So I don't expect much consistency with them because of JJ McCarthy, because you don't really know what he's going to be overall. He struggled at times this year. They have excellent skilled players. But you can see, like last week when they came back, who were they playing last week? The Bears, okay, right? They're playing the Bears.
Yeah, they lost.
And they came back, though. Really, McCarthy struggled all game. And then they got the ball back with maybe 2.5 minutes, led them down the field for a touchdown. And then the Bears answered back and wound up kicking the game-winning field goal. Maybe that was a little good sign for McCarthy, who was very good on that drive to give them a lead. But still, in that division, you have 4 very good teams. The Lions, you saw them lose to the Eagles, but I think they're the cream of the crop in that division. The Packers, Packers hit or miss so many times. You can't lose to the Browns. And then beat the Giants last week in a comeback win that you think maybe will provide a little bit of a little bit of grit, but I still don't really know what I'm going to get with the Packers. But I do think they're better and more consistent than the Vikings. So I'll take them.
All right, so let's go with your team, the New York Jets. Travel to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens, 13.5. The Ravens are favored. If they're favored by 31, I still take Baltimore. What do you say?
Yeah, I know. Baltimore is, I guess I don't see them really losing more than 1 or 2 games, and it doesn't really matter what the score is. Maybe the Jets can hang in there for a little while, but they've shown throughout that they really struggle against Lamar Jackson and against Baltimore historically. They've only won like 1 or 2 games, and one of them was against Vinny Testaverde in 1997 in overtime. So they don't exactly have much success against Baltimore. Baltimore likes seeing the Jets on the schedule, and this year's going to be no different.
And of course, the Jets making a change there with quarterback, so they put Tyrod Taylor there, so that should be interesting. Maybe they get a little bit more touchdowns there. But let's get to the next one. And boy, it's another doozy. The Giants into Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, the Giants have played everybody tough. Detroit, I expected them to win. Now, call me crazy when they went into Philadelphia. I just think their offense at times has been dominant. They've had a number of 30-point games, a couple of 40-point games. And, with Jared Goff, they can put up numbers fast. But against the better teams, they've struggled. The Giants are a team that are in every game. You see Jameis Winston last week got his time to shine, and he led them on a go-ahead drive, but then couldn't lead them on a game-tying or game-winning drive. So it's hard for me to think the Giants are going to be anything other than they've been this year, which is a team that competes with Australia, that they belong, in the league, and I think they're going to be a good team for the future. But without Jackson Dart, you really have a team that's in transition still. Jameis Winston's good enough, but he's not good enough to beat the Lions.
That I agree with, and let's face it, the Lions are, like you said, one of the good teams in the National Football League. Seattle, Tennessee, another. And by the way, the Lions are favored by 10. Seattle's favored by 13.5.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Okay. So I picked against Seattle all year to lose, but 13.5 is a lot of points to give Tennessee, which has played better recently. last week they lost in overtime, where they had to come back at the end of the game. So I think they're getting better. I think 13 is too much to give out. I'd take the Titans.
New England at Cincinnati. Um, New England favored by 7. By the way, Joe Burrow will not be playing. It looks like he'll make his debut on Thanksgiving night against the Ravens.
Yeah, so this will be my upset. I think that the Bengals, who have been blown away by other teams' offenses and really laughed at when you score 40 points in back-to-back weeks and lose, um, or 39, 38 against the Jets and then 40 against the Bears and lose. That's not good. They did that last year where they lost maybe 4 or 5 games. They scored 30 points. Their defense is awful. But New England is at a point where people are expecting them to win. I think people expect them to come in and win this game. But with Joe Flacco, he gives them the ability to score points. And it's at Cincinnati. I think this is going to be a game that the Patriots learn from because they're going to lose. And that'll teach them they can't take anybody too lightly. They're still got a lot of young players. I mean, and Drake May leads the league in passing. He has the most passing yards in the league, which I think if somebody would have told you at the beginning of the year, you would have laughed in their face. But over 2,800 passing yards, a little more than Justin Herbert, or Hey Bear, whatever, or however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And I think he's the biggest surprise to me in football.
All right. Well, I like that pick, but if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, all right. Next one, Pittsburgh into Chicago. The Bears favored by 2.5. Of course, Rodgers most likely will not play. Who are you picking that one?
Well, the Bears, like I said, they've been winning games like in Tim Tebow fashion. Last week was no exception. They wind up giving up the lead in the last 2 minutes to Minnesota, and who McCarthy played awful all game, and then he led them down to take the lead, and then the Bears went right back, like they have against Cincinnati, like they did against the Giants, and again coming from behind in the fourth quarter, they got a number of come from behind wins in the fourth quarter. They're on a roll now, and I think they're even in position to win that division if the Lions don't get their act together.
The best 1 p.m. game, and this should be a doozy. Indianapolis at Kansas City. Kansas City favored by 3.5. It's do or die for Kansas City.
I thought that was do or die was last week.
It's this week.
And a back and forth game where it looked like they were going to be victorious, and then Denver pulls the rabbit out of the hat. So Kansas City, you keep waiting for them. Like the Patriots when they had Brady, or any team, the Yankees, when they were winning in the late 90s, early 2000s. You keep waiting for them to show up. Lakers when they had Shaq and Kobe. Okay, they can maybe lollygag a little bit of points, but when it's time to play, they'll get their act together. Keep waiting for that for Kansas City. Time's running out. They're going to play their way right, like Lawrence Tierney said in one of that Quentin Tarantino movie. We're laughing our way right into prison, and I think they're laughing their way right out of the postseason.
Well, keep on laughing because that game it's going to be really good, especially if Indy surprises everybody. We'll see what Kansas City does. But now let's get to the 4:00 games. Jacksonville into Arizona. Jacksonville favored by 3.
Yeah, now, again, another team up and down. I wound up blowing out the Chargers last week. I think if you're the Chargers, you got to really look at yourself and say, what are we? And Jacksonville has lost some games this year that they should have won. But God, you asked me to. Jacksonville should be better. They should have more wins. I'll take them, but again, what scares me about them is how bad they can look at times, and especially in a game that people think they should win. So, but I'll give them a break. I'll take them this week.
All right, 4:05, Cleveland and the Raiders favored by 4. And you wanted to talk
Wait a
about.
minute. The Raiders are favored?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think Shadar Sanders in Vegas, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas,
Yeah.
especially his bank account, especially because Dion's going to be there and everything. I think Cleveland gets a win.
Yeah, I would take. I mean, I don't take the Raiders to do anything. Raiders have looked so bad this year. Um, Monday night included, losing to Dallas. You wonder if Pete Carroll is going to resign after this year, looking at what he's dealing with. Um, yeah, no, I do not like the Raiders in this game.
All right, so then we go 425 Atlanta, New Orleans, and I can't believe this. New Orleans is favored by 1.5 points.
Yeah, well, they're favored because things are, again, so crazy in the NFL. New Orleans can look as good as, what's their record? They have 2 wins.
Yeah.
2-8. They can look as good as a 2-8 team can look. And Atlanta, 3-7. They've beaten the Bills. They've played a number of teams pretty tough, and then they'll go out and they'll lose 30-0 to Carolina. So again, it's very confusing. They lost last week in overtime. Lost to the Colts in overtime. They haven't won since they beat the Bills, Atlanta. And I think New Orleans, I like Spencer Rattler. I think the Saints are better than they've played this year. They played a number of close games. They played 49ers close. They were in the game up against Buffalo. They played a one-score game, 25-19 against New England. Even though Tampa Bay and the Rams have really beaten them bad, but they did beat the Panthers the last game they had. And I think at home they'll beat the Falcons.
All right, and the best 4 o'clock game is pretty good. Philadelphia into Dallas. Philadelphia favored by 3.5.
Yeah, Philadelphia has beaten 2 of the better teams in the NFC the last 2 weeks with the Packers and the Lions. And I think they love beating Dallas, and they love beating up on Dallas. And they love embarrassing Dallas. And I think this will be another opportunity for them to do it. And I think that'll probably knock Dallas out of the postseason, despite getting Quinn Williams and everyone, again, thinking that this was their year, trading Micah Parsons was going to help them. And I don't really know if it has overall. I think the Cowboys are what they've always been, which are overrated and overpaid.
This is a very important game for both teams. In Dallas, for next Thursday, they have Kansas City in Dallas.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Philadelphia on Friday, Black Friday game, they play Chicago, the Bears. So both tough games for both teams there. And by the way, a side note, it looks like TJ Watt is stepping aside, doesn't want to play football no more. He collects $50 million, and then much like you collect the money and then you don't put out here. You're like 27% in your bets. What's wrong with you? All right, so Mark will be back to preview the Monday Night Football game, but first of all, Sunday Night Football, and dare I say it, Tampa, if they lose here, could lose 3 in a row. Tampa and the Rams favored by 7. Who do you got for Sunday Night Football?
Well, Tampa was winning games early where Baker Mayfield was taking him down the field. And as long as they had the last possession, that you didn't have to worry that they would come out and win. Last week's loss against Buffalo showed that they can play on the road against Buffalo. I think you kind of knew that they were good. If they could have beaten them, I think that would have been really said a lot. But they didn't, and I think still you're wondering where do they fit amongst the NFC teams. With the Rams, you know that the Rams are really good, and if you look at the way Matthew Stafford has played since the loss at Philadelphia, he has 12, 16, 20, 22 touchdowns without an interception. Okay, I mean he's played unbelievably well. The win over the Seahawks last week put them with the advantage for the division. Very quietly, they've had a great year, and I think that they probably are the best team that isn't named Philadelphia in the NFC.
All right. Once again, Mark will be back for Monday Night Football. The buys this week: the Denver Broncos, the LA Chargers, Miami, and Washington.
Mm.
There, and it's this time of the show where Mark talks about eating. All right, he likes eating. He likes to eat. So, Mark, go ahead. Tell everybody where you go basically every day, and you eat and you take food home.
Yeah,
All right. So,
and it's funny
go.
as we're
And
doing the show.
free.
Yep, as we're doing the show, we've had some people. I'm in Miles' office now. Come in because they didn't realize I was in here. And it's funny. You have some background faces there. But Miles owns the Cow Stampede where I am right now. Like so we have Crossville's basketball team coming in a little bit. We're going to do some interviews with them. And Miles, one of my sponsors here at the restaurant, caters to middle class families. They got a buffet with so many things that you're gonna love. Everything from the steak to the mashed potatoes to vegetable. And I'm not a vegetable guy, but they got those southern vegetables, and then they have dessert too. They got ice cream. They got bread pudding. And I mean, there's so many things for you to like. And
What's your favorite thing to eat there?
the steak, because it's medium rare. And there's not a lot of fat on it. That's what I like. Like when you chew it and you cut into it, it's not like you're chewing for 45 minutes and then spitting it out. I mean, this is real. It's really good quality meat. He gets. Yeah, I don't know how he does it. He's gets the best type of food, and it's still very affordable. And you mentioned my name, you get 10% off. So I think that's really to me being able to have his support. What he does for the community is very important to me. And then Bobby Ledbetter, who I met through Miles, who owns a car dealership in Gadsden and here in Fort Payne, is another guy that him and Miles do a lot in the community together. I know Thanksgiving they're doing a lot for homeless people. They do so many things to help out people. And Bobby Ledbetter's Twin City Auto Sales is where you need to go if you want to buy a car. You buy there once, you buy for the rest of your life.
All right, Mark will be back here Monday to preview Monday Night Football. Hopefully, you have a great week, Mark. Thanks a lot for this.
Thank you, Joe.